Ello PyroKnights. In today's video, we are going to be reacting to Am I Supposed to Hate Pokemon Now by CandyEvie. Are we supposed to be hating Pokemon now? Because that's what it feels like how it feels to be a Pokemon fan from the outside. Like on Twitter, I know Twitter's a bad example, but I feel that most communities are shunning Nintendo and Pokemon Company, and low-key for good reason, but it does feel like we're supposed to hate it now. It feels like peer pressure that we're supposed to hate this game. Like the company, I mean, okay, oh boy. But even the games. So I want to hear what CandyEvie has to say. I'll give my own thoughts if I feel it's applicable, but I was just kind of curious. So again, if you want to watch the original video without me in the bottom of your screen in the left corner in your ear, then you can, with the link in the description. And down there as well, you can help me reach 1K sooner by hitting that subscribe button, because we're almost there. I think that'd be great. But please leave a like and subscribe. I'm begging you. CandyEvie, tell me, why are we supposed to hate Pokemon?
Am I meant to hate Pokemon now? Because it kind of feels like it. So I've been playing, and spoiler, enjoying Pokemon Legends EA, but before I release any review type thing, I wanted to reflect on the general feeling that's been building up around our favorite Pocket Monster video games for quite a long time now. I quite famously, or well, not famously, really, I'm a huge social media avoider. Probably not the best quality
me too,
to have
low-key,
as a YouTuber,
kinda.
But even I am kind of
really,
peripherally aware that there's a pretty big split on how people feel about the newer games, especially in the Switch era, which the EA is presumably the final entry of. It's kind of like you have to be on one side or the other. You're either a mindless Pokemon.
I do want to say something, and with the whole Pokemon Switch 2 thing, the Switch 2 is just a PS4 Pro in Nintendo edition. You know what I'm saying? Legit, it's just a Switch Pro, basically. So I would just keep calling it the Switch generation, because it's not that different. Or I guess we can go Wii U, but more of an upgrade. That's what I'd say. I wouldn't divide it, because it's probably gonna be the same quality anyway. I'll just be honest. Although they did say discontinuing cross-platform, or they hinted that they're gonna discontinue cross-platforming from now on. So, or at least slow it down a bit. So most games are going for the Switch 2, which I'm happy with, because then that means we're getting, we're getting more better games that I don't have to be made for a lower tier console. So I'm okay with this.
Pokemon shill that will always buy whatever Pokemon branded thing is pushed in your face.
That's me.
I suppose in theory I would fit into this category.
Yep.
Or you think everything Pokemon puts out is automatically bad or slop. And think if you're giving money to Nintendo by buying the games, and you're making this problem worse.
No, it's not everyone else. I'm joking.
I didn't actually pay for Legends EA, so you can't use that one on me. I got a review code. That's even worse.
That's
They're
the
probably
dream.
paying you to say nice things, or you're not allowed to criticize it. I mean, that's a fair point, but they haven't done either of those things. It's not like I'm having to send what I want to say to Nintendo for approval. They don't know what I'm gonna say in the video. And when I am sent a free code, I say, thank you very much. I would like the free code. Do I want
I'm not gonna say no
to receive said free codes? Please. But at the same time, I'm not really making any effort to censor myself. And I guess if you think what I'm saying is kind of fancitory or overly charitable, then I guess that's just a problem you have with me as a person. Sorry. If I was deliberately trying to tiptoe around things, then I wouldn't have just made a video about Pokemon's newest mobile game, where I essentially discover and expose that it is—
Wait. When did Pokemon Friends come out? When did I miss I guess I might have skipped it, because I didn't care about mobile games. Maybe I shouldn't skip things. Not that I play any of the mobile games. I don't even play Pokemon Go anymore. Oh, wait. Pokemon TCG. That one's fun. But, everything else is kind of trash. From what it looks like, I haven't played it. But, at the same time, it looks like his ass.
Is an asset flip. I didn't want to
also,
do that.
Only 1 minute?
Okay,
we're gonna let this play. I don't want this to be an hour-long video.
That thing spawned news articles. Somehow I don't think that's likely to get me in Pokemon's good books. Of course,
no,
I
most
very much
definitely.
want to be in their good books.
No.
They invited me to the London office once years ago, and it was one of the coolest things I've been able to do because of the channel. I just felt like a complete fangirl, and even now I'm just forever grateful for that experience. Also, they gave us croissants. It was a real good day. I love Pokemon, I make no secret of that. But just to be clear, I've never felt that I had to cut anything out of one of my videos to try and stay on anyone's good side. Sure, I hope they like me.
Yes, the sticker doors.
I very much like them. And on an absolutely unrelated note, today's sponsor is also unaffiliated with the aforementioned entities, but it's pretty cool. It's Celestials Awakened, an upcoming RPG for PC to the vid. So
go support Celestials, but I don't want to watch it.
Okay, I
but
just
like,
gotta
go support
rant.
it.
I
I've already
like
seen
the
it.
word slop, or at least the current usage.
Support
like,
them.
as an adjective, it gets the job done. But I like critical analysis. I want to know why something is slop. Like, I can't just put a half-hour video on while I work of someone just saying slop over and over again. I would lose my mind. Maybe I'm just old. I like nuance and I like thinking about things, even if I still come to the same conclusion.
My throat is bad today, guys. I can get my voice
slop.
out for a little while,
but then
the
journey. It's got to be informed slop. I'm saying the word slop more than I ever have in my entire life for this video. I hope you're happy. Look, I like to have a long piece of well-written critique playing in the background while I'm working, but I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. The most sensational and shortest form takes are going to be what dominates. Meme of trees, good.
Meme
Wall
of trees,
text,
yeah.
No one's reading your Twitter essay, no matter how reasonable it is. But for some reason, people are watching in video form, so let's get into it. So this sort of vibe around new Pokemon games is not even remotely new. It's existed in one form or another since at least Gen 3. From reasons ranging from disliking the new design, certain mechanics, or, well, a lack thereof, or just a simple disconnect from growing up and not feeling like it captures that same childhood magic as it once did. Even in the Gen 4 times, I remember people having plenty to complain about. Licky Licky? That's gotta be the stupidest Pokemon ever made. What were they thinking? And we don't even need to get into the absolute hatred
But now
Gen
people
5
love these things, by the way.
Old days when they only made Pokemon based on real animals, not trash bags or ice cream. Now Gen 3 had its own version of Dexit. If you wanted to bring along your buddies from Gold and Silver, then tough luck, because you couldn't. The track forever on the Game Boy.
I can't believe it.
Obviously, the landscape online was entirely different, so it didn't become this huge community outrage to the scale of Dexit. I'd say I first started noticing more complaints about the visual quality of Pokemon games around Gen 7. Gen 6 had been the first 3D generation, which was a huge step forward, and the Alola games after it were visually
well, step forward is a big statement. Step forward. I mean, it certainly was a step forward, I will admit, but like, I mean, it could have been a step forward, but like, I don't think it is really, because well, maybe for like other parts, but not the Pokemon. Pokemon kind of suffered a lot because of this. I gotta be honest. All the Pokemon kind of suffered a lot due to the 3D generation. The biggest one being Typhlosion. Man lost his flames. Man became unhot. Because I was gonna say cool, but like that defeats what I was gonna say. Anyways, yeah, 3D. I don't know. And Sun and Moon. I'm the biggest Sun and Moon hater around. I gotta be honest. I'm just that guy. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I didn't like it when I first played it. I don't like it now. I might go back. I might see if Ultra Sun can change my mind, because that is the last game I gotta play for my randomizer journey. I just don't know if the 3D jump was worth the time or effort. I think we should have kept sprites low key after seeing what we have now. Sprites should have been the thing we kept. Okay, anyways.
Fine. It does reuse the models from X and Y, and I think with the 3D novelty having worn off a bit, people did start to question, yeah, with Pokemon being as big as it is, shouldn't the games reflect that a bit more? But we were still on the 3DS, so you kind of have to manage your expectations for a device with a resolution of 400 by 240p.
I forget how low
which I think is an incredibly pretty game, especially the cutscenes. It's just a top-down remake-ish type game of Yellow. It was cute.
This was a cool game. I liked it a lot.
Complaint for the visuals. Then we get to Sword and Shield, and you know where it goes from here. The main bulk of this sort of Pokemon sucks culture was kicked off by the aforementioned Dexit. Masuda makes an off comment in a Nintendo Treehouse about how not all of the Pokemon will be coming back, and
that
it just
exploded the internet at the time. I gotta be honest.
People attach a lot of sentimental value to
everyone's
the Pokemon,
internet,
so not being able to bring your favorite guys to the newest game made a lot of people sad and angry. Very angry. Though being real, anyone paying attention knew this was coming. They made such a big deal in Gen 6 about being able to catch every Pokemon between the 4 games.
Don't click away.
Then Gen 7 comes out and it did have all the old pokes,
I'm just making
but there was no national dex. I can have my favorite guy, he just doesn't have a dex entry. He kind of doesn't exist.
I just realized he
collecting all of the Pokemon was this incredibly large but still possible feat. But when you just keep adding more and more, currently at over 1,000
eventually,
mons, it just wasn't going to be sustainable forever.
Like when you think about it,
so all this
realistically,
stuff and perceived laziness with regard to, well,
when
the
you think
core
about it,
of Pokemon
like
games,
rationally, that was always going to happen.
Is what I personally think set off this whole automatic negativity toward anything Game Freak put out from then on. This was where you started to see the single shot of that tree in the wild area, which became its own sort of shorthand for Pokemon game quality. You've definitely seen it. Guess which one of these is from a GameCube game and which one's from the Switch. I am not saying the tree looks good. No one is saying the tree looks good.
That's why it's here. That's why it's an example. It's bad.
More and more ire, with some respite after Legends Arceus. Like, oh hey, they did something different.
Legends Arceus fucking
followed by
game.
Another absolute firestorm with Scarlet and Violet. So how does the newest entry in
Firestorm's the best way to put it, actually, because the game itself was a mixed bag. I enjoyed it a lot. It took me a long time to actually beat it, but once I got down to it, you know, I had a lot of fun. Scarlet and Violet, it grew on me the more I guess I played it, but definitely it was a tough sell at the beginning. The beginning is a rough slog. I have to say it. The beginning of Scarlet and Violet is ass cheeks. I gotta be so for real. It gets going in the last half. I think the beginning to the middle is like really hard. But then late game, it's really good. I think that's where my opinion stands. The late game and DLC even are really fun. Just the beginning is really hard to get through. So that's what happened with me and Scarlet and Violet. It took me so many years to finally beat it. Once I did, I was happy with it. And my opinion of the game overall improved from mostly negative to, well, it ain't that bad. But I will say, I think I enjoyed Sword and Shield a little bit more.
Line up
the
with
vibes,
this
the music, brother.
So was everyone pleased with the quality of ZA? No, but we already know this.
So far.
I'm much more of a chilled out gamer. Like everyone else, I have eyes, but I like to think I can see the wood for the trees. If the overall vibes are good, I'm just gonna try and enjoy myself. But you don't want to hear that, you want to hear me rip it apart. So let's go. If I were to summarize the aesthetic theming of ZA in one word, it would be inconsistent. There's a consistent inconsistency with the detail that felt a bit odd at times. So for example, when you first step out of the train into Lumiose, the train station's covered with all these posters. And it's not limited to the train station, this sort of thing's all over the city. As someone that likes to draw, I can look at every one of these and know that each one probably took hours to make. It's a lot of detail for something that you just walk past, and I can really appreciate it. Or other little details like the Pokemon centers. All the pretty little item models in the background are quite nice. The museum with just its entire history exhibit.
Oh my god, museum is
very
fucking
detailed
cool.
with a lot of love
I didn't see it.
into
I didn't show it on
stream,
stream, but like that was so much fun. I spent like a good half hour
taking it all in. I very much recommend taking your time with it. Or even in Sushi High Roller. Everyone has slightly different plates of sushi, which for what they are relatively nice looking 3D models. It's something that people aren't really going to be paying attention to, but it adds a lot. But of course, there's gonna be a disconnect when you go to a window outside and it's just the JPEGiest JPEG you've ever seen.
Yeah, the stickers, sticker walls, love it.
I don't love it. It's whatever the deal is with the compression.
I know why.
I don't know anything about game development or 3D models or textures, so don't take my word as anything professionally informed. But anyone can look at an image that has artifacting like this and say, oof, that's not great. And it's especially funny when I made this exact point when playing the first Pokemon Switch game, Let's Go.
Quite laggy, and the compression of some of the images isn't the best. You really wouldn't notice it unless you're nitpicking like me, but when they zoom in on it on a cutscene like this, I couldn't really stop looking at it. I'm not too worried about it though, because there's over a year until the next title comes out, and hopefully enough time to fine-tune the games to be better optimized for the Switch.
Yeah, that's totally what they did. Yeah, it's totally what happened.
I got some bad news for you. I know
they didn't.
But when I'm having the same thoughts 7 years on, it's just not the best look.
They lowered the budgets.
I know there's obviously logical reasons to explain these inconsistencies.
And that's pretty smart.
These posters, while incredibly detailed, are still just flat images that on their own aren't going to be as demanding to render. So the windows and doors being not just flat images but heavily compressed flat images is presumably to do with real-time rendering and avoiding potential lag. This game was developed for the Switch. And while I'm not saying that this is the pinnacle of efficiency or graphical performance for the Switch, that is still going to hold it back when it's having to run on a console nearly a decade old at this point, which was already below that of its competitors.
I don't like that. Don't remind me of my age.
That's just Nintendo. We tell ourselves it's worth it for Mario Kart. But make no mistake, this isn't a launch title for the Switch 2 by any means. It's
I feel like I make a video on again. I have to make a re-updated video on
Breaker
World. I'm sorry.
Version of a
That might have to happen.
game. The moment of truth is gonna be Gen 10, which will presumably be announced next Pokemon Day. Like, you realize in terms of release cycles, we should be in Gen 10 now, right? They haven't broken that 3-year cycle since Black and White. I'm not complaining. As I get older, it feels like everything is running on 2x speed.
Actually,
so slowing
though,
down a little would be quite welcome.
It actually, everything is going.
Need.
It's been.
Please, I insist on it. If Gen 10 comes out exclusively for Switch 2 and it's got all the same weird JPEG compression, then yeah, that's gonna be a bit of a yikes, isn't it? So to go back to that one tree we all love, I actually like the way Sword and Shield looks. A lot. Mainland Galar is a much more traditionally structured region compared to
I like it a lot.
because it's linear and each area is self-contained with its own loading screen. It doesn't have the issues with the houses or the NPCs or the lag. And
the
frankly,
open world
it looks a lot better because they can allow for more detail without the game breaking.
Yeah,
I know there's obviously a lot more to it than that. The way you interact with the world is very different between the two games. One's a pretty backdrop, while in the other you have to be able to touch and climb everything. But regardless, if there's even really a question of whether or not the game has regressed visually, that alone isn't encouraging, is it? Where Scarlet and Violet did add more visual details in the character and Pokemon models. And honestly, I wasn't a fan. I'm sorry, maybe I have bad taste, but realism doesn't automatically mean better to me. Sword and Shield uses flat colors in this cel-shaded style, but it worked for me in a way that it just didn't in Scarlet and Violet.
It's hard.
Some people appreciate the details. Personally,
it's hard,
I
don't know.
need or really want to see this very obvious fur texture. Or the way the hair looks on people. It's just a bit uncanny at times. Maybe it's just the way the shading makes it look, but I vastly prefer the direction both of the Legends games took it.
I actually, you know what?
Textures, they look like Pokemon. Same with the people. They look like characters in a Pokemon game. I don't need to see every follicle on my character's head. In fact, I'd prefer it if I didn't. Just give me my flat, hair-shaped blob. It looks way better. Thank you. Now, I briefly mentioned the issues people have with Scarlet and Violet's NPCs, and I think that's a good place to pivot to next. I actually think it's largely not an issue for ZA, or at least not for me personally. Lumiose feels way more alive than any of the Scarlet and Violet cities did, because to make something feel alive and atmospheric, it's not just about how many people are around. Scarlet and Violet had people wandering around, but they're all just the same NPCs on a loop, just saying the weirdest stuff. Again, looping NPCs is not inherently a problem. They had those back in Black and White. Done sparingly as an accentuating atmosphere
I never noticed,
builder.
actually.
It's fine.
But I don't
it just
look for
shouldn't
it.
be the bulk of the
I never
city.
looked for it. I gotta be
and
honest,
in
I never
ZA,
noticed
it's not. There's people walking around with Pokemon, some joggers here and there, but I really do feel like it adds to the atmosphere instead of taking anything away. Like, there are so many people in this game. I wasn't going out of my way to hunt down every single
standing
NPC
still,
during
though,
my
is kinda
playthrough, but I was talking to a lot of them. And even late into the game, I still have to question whether or not I've talked to a specific one before. People with shorter things to say will just have a speech bubble above their head. But there are plenty that are interactable and have a bit more to say. You've got your generic sort of general Pokemon game NPC talk, but there's a lot of little references and atmospheric touches, and it really adds a lot for me. There's also just so many different people designs that it's actually hard to keep track of them all. In a good way. Especially when they have palette and accessory variations of some models. Which actually took me quite a long time to notice, so it's doing something right. I only did notice because there's this one guy that has the most horrendous Ultra Ball haircut in every single variation of this model. So exploring the city's great. Okay, no. There was this one particular story moment where Urbane has to rescue Jet from this dangerous crowd of protesters. There is another major complaint ZA seems to share with Scarlet and Violet.
I do not want to know plot things. Don't give me.
But 95% of the buildings are inaccessible. I'm not saying you need to be able to enter every single building. That's kind of ridiculous.
No,
but when you're making an entry in the Pokemon series where people are used to barging into houses to look for secrets, it's an understandable gripe to
actually,
have.
though,
wait,
no, I agree with this 100%. This one, it bothers me a little bit.
Rather the ones that were intentionally designed and look like they're meant to serve some kind of purpose. The best example of this is probably City Hall. You even have to specifically go there at one point in the story. It's a uniquely designed building that stands out against the backdrop, and yup, that's a JPEG door. It was just kind of sad.
Sticker.
Like, why even bother having the signposts out there if it's just nothing? The map generally indicates which buildings you can enter or tangibly interact with, as redder than the surrounding buildings. And City Hall is indeed red on the map. There's a few landmarks like this which are kind of just there to look pretty, but no one's actually home. Maybe these are saved for the DLC, but at the very least, they could have put out a little text box like, "It's locked, too bad," or something. Another quality gripe I could mention is the reused music in the game. And no, I don't mean that the music is based on tracks from Kalos, that's great. No, what I mean is tracks that are in X and Y. My auditory memory is surprisingly good, and noticed, you weren't gonna fool me. The ones I can think to name are Hotel Richissime and the Boutique theme. I have it playing in the background now because, yes, it is a certified banger.
Oh, yeah.
But I wouldn't have complained for a little remaster. During my playthrough of ZA, I was sat next to my partner and going into these boutiques, I said, "I swear this is the same as X and Y. Like a direct rip." And he says, "Nah, it's probably a little different." No, I'm pretty sure it's the same. I got invited to the Nintendo London pop-up shop about a week ago, which was very cool. Thanks, Nintendo. I swear this is relevant. And afterward, a few of us PokeTuber friends were having a Nando's as you do. And we're talking about VA, because it's just come out.
Luke?
And this is the part where you expect me to say that all the PokeTubers were trashing it. But they weren't. Everyone was just like, yeah, it's fun. Then
they're PokeTubers, you know?
You know, I think they reused the boutique theme from X and Y. Oh my god, I knew it. I told you. I freaking knew it. The original theme's already so good, though. True. Like, I don't really mind. I don't think they needed to redo it. No, man, that's cope. Money. It's pretty much always money. Don't misunderstand, there's no lack of money when it comes to fucking money. You've probably heard over and over that yes, it is the highest grossing media franchise of all time. But what that leaves out is the multifaceted machine that it is. That figure is not just the games. Really, the games are a small fraction of the big picture. It's difficult to pinpoint an exact number, but just from the little research I did, imagine a number maybe hovering under 5% and you're probably close. Scarlet and Violet still sold $1.5 billion worth of games, but that being a fraction of this bigger whole should really show you the scale of things. Of course, it's a little more complicated than that, with the larger Pokemon company itself being owned in equal part by Creatures, Game Freak, and Nintendo. But even then, 1.5 billion from just Scarlet and Violet. The games provide the base for everything else.
I don't know much about
the
company side of things of Pokemon.
That's where the real cash comes from. You might be glitching into another dimension in your game, but like, that doesn't make this Fuecoco plush that you can purchase from Pokemon Center.
I have that exact plush.
Any less adorable. Now does it? Compared to, say, the Zelda franchise, it's gonna be an incredibly different looking pie chart with regard to the money makers. There are 19 Pokemon Centers, 6 Pokemon stores. I actually didn't even know those were a thing until writing this. 3 cafes, an upcoming theme park, and this entire merchandise culture all its own. Scarlet and Violet shows that a game doesn't have to be received as well critically or even functionally, because not only is it still going to break records,
if I get one more, it's
going to
cause a problem
on the rest of the machine. But as a fan, all you're really going to take from that is that they don't care about the games because they don't need to, and that's a sad thought. I do want to say that to me it seems less about this outright willful greed and more about the feeling that Game Freak itself essentially still wants to be like an indie studio. An indie studio that makes the main content for the most profitable franchise on Earth. But when you've got a team of just over 200 employees, which yes, is small, having to pump out a brand new game every year, the end result of that having issues isn't surprising.
I don't think it's every year anymore.
I'm sure individual developers are doing the absolute best they can with the limited time they have for each project. And it's not that the games have gotten lazy, really quite the contrary. It's that the standard that we expect is so much higher now that it is a 3D home console series. Back when it was on handhelds, they could just make one pixel art tree, and that's good for the entire game. Just copy and paste it everywhere and you've got yourself a forest, it looks great. But when you're in this higher resolution 3D world, you expect more, and suddenly you can't just copy and paste tree as easily without getting roasted online. Or, well, you can, then you get BDSP. These beloved sprite-based titles are more suited to what was, at the time, an even smaller indie team. But the demands of development have grown, and the team hasn't grown at quite the same rate. Each Pokemon back then only needed one static sprite front and back, maybe an extra frame for animation if you're feeling fancy. But now every Pokemon in 3D has its idle animation, walking animations, running animations, the little Ami-type animations, if applicable, sleeping animations, several unique attack animations, many of these being updated and improved between games. And while it is objectively funny to point at Pikachu's model between X and Y to Legend ZA and say, it's the same model, I highly doubt that it's quite as simple as literally copying and pasting the model. I reiterate my personal 3D modeling experience,
what can you do,
zero.
right?
But they do have to be adapted, right? In pretty much every new entry, they have a distinct look, different textures, shading, and that is quite a bit to consider for literally over 1,000 Pokemon at this point. Is this something that would be made easier with more time, money, and people? Yes. The real message here is just hire and train more people. They got the cash for it. And also, just make another game in pixel art, Game Freak. Please.
Yes.
It'd be cheaper,
do that.
and no one would be having arguments.
You can do this, Game Freak.
I want my Pokemon Sea of Stars game, please.
We will eat it up.
Satisfying way
we
for me
being
to
the Pokemon
fans,
I'll eat it up.
I'm
Fucking
sure
do it.
That actually works in game development would rightfully say that I just don't know what I'm talking
like,
about, which
please.
I don't. I don't make games, I play them. I'm gonna own it.
True.
I think I do fall into that demographic of person that is willing to gobble up anything Pokemon puts out without
do
major
too.
complaint. Because yeah, what I get from the games is the
I'm
enjoyment
a part of the problem.
the new designs, the stylization, the music. Any little tidbit or reference
I am not
makes my
here
little
for
heart happy.
great graphics.
Sure, I can stand next to one of these doors and go, oof. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's rough.
But then I just walk away and it doesn't
Yeah,
impact
honestly,
my overall experience.
Yeah.
But I can totally get that someone else
Honestly.
can be playing it, see the exact same thing, and then see the
highest grossing media franchise in the world.
You know, if you
really
pull it
feel the
back like
disconnect
that,
and
then
feel
it's gonna
bad.
look bad.
I'm not saying that's wrong, but I
it's not
really
wrong
have
either.
enjoyed playing ZA so far. There's a lot of nostalgia in Kalos for me, and I love Legends Arceus, so I think it was always going to be a positive experience. But sure, if I
Legends
really
Arceus was
stopped
so
to
fucking
think,
good.
what if this did have a bigger budget or more people working on it? It's not that I think the game is unpleasant for me to play now, but how much better could it be? All the
Yeah.
little moments
It's always
where I'm
what-
looking
but if you
around
think
and
what could-
thinking, you know what? This is pretty. I like this vibe. Could that have been amplified? Maybe. Probably. And I guess, why wouldn't you want that for your favorite franchise? I'm speaking for myself here, obviously. I think part of being a real fan of something is wanting it to be the best it can be while
realize I've been
being able
covering
to
her this
acknowledge
entire
any flaws
video.
it might have. And let's be real, watching this video
My
from the
bad.
start, you knew the answer was never going to be a hard yes, that I do indeed hate Pokemon. Look, what do you expect? If I boycott Pokemon, how's your girl gonna eat? I got kids to feed. 3 insatiable kids. I hope you enjoyed whatever this was. I enjoyed having this sort
I'll
of
talk about one of my thoughts
conversational
at the end.
video essay ramble thing. It's meant to be a sort of extra to the actual ZA videos I have cooking up. I haven't actually finished playing the game. It's a bit easier for me to make, so I might do some more every now and then, because I have a
I
lot
wander
of
around way
uninformed
too
pocket
often, I gotta
monster
be
thoughts
honest.
in this head of mine that are begging to be monetized. I've been playing ZA on my Twitch channel, and it's been fun. We've been
Look
doing
at
some
Magic
shiny
Carve.
hunting, of
Wait,
course.
oh, I love
Actually, I
that.
should be live for a few hours right now when this video goes live, so if you
Huh.
can pop in then, great. But if not, I mean, that's fine. You don't have to.
That's okay.
You're right.
Okay. I mean, I'm late to this video, so. Anyways, my thoughts on this whole thing is, yeah, I mean, obviously here you're gonna like think about what ifs, right? The what ifs are not gonna help with Pokemon, like and how it is, like how the quality it's gonna be. Like we got what we got, and sure it could have been better, but thinking about that is just gonna drive negative thoughts and then more negativity, which we don't need more of that. Sure, Pokemon could, and I advocate for them to do more with their games, but I'm still gonna buy them because I'm part of the problem. But at the same time, I still want better Pokemon games because I'm gonna buy them anyway. And if I'm gonna buy them anyway, I would rather the quality be higher. But I don't think these games are bad games, at least from what I've played. I haven't finished it. I've enjoyed it thoroughly for what I've played. And I think I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my time with it as well. Pokemon in general, like even Scarlet and Violet, like it took me a while to beat that game, I won't lie. But Pokemon has improved since then, like with the Legends games. We're not gonna look at the other ones. We're not gonna look at BDSP, okay? But besides that, they've improved a lot. And I think we should look at that. Can it be better? Yes, it can, but it's not gonna be. So we should look at what we have, and I think we should maybe, if you like the game, you know, that's fair. That's fair. If you don't like the game, that's also fair. You know, it's your opinion. Do what you want. Of course, you can also talk about the negatives and like what it could have been for discourse and what it should be. Like that's a thing you can do. I don't think you should personally, but like it's a good argument to toss around because it's just like, yeah, you know, it's valid. It's valid in itself because they could be better. But I don't really think throwing around negativity like that is gonna help any. Let's be fucking for real. Nintendo isn't listening. But regardless, though, that is it. I enjoy the Legends Arceus games. Am I supposed to hate Pokemon now? According to a lot of people, Yes. But do I? No. And if you like Pokemon, and if you don't like Pokemon and you want to see more of my takes, I guess. I don't know if you, I mean, why are you here if you don't like Pokemon? But like, if you like Pokemon, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And maybe go check out CandyEvie to watch her original video of me yapping in the corner of your ear. Links are in the description as well. Like, subscribe, all that good shit. And I'll see y'all in the next piece of content that I make. All right. Bye. What was that?